right, we'll give it just a second here. And I believe we are live. Hi,
Yay!
everybody. Let me
Hi,
fix you
everyone.
over here. Hey, everybody. Look who I've got with me. It's Debra Zachau from
Yeah,
Clarity Tarot and Grow Your Light, the
grow your
book.
light. Yeah,
Yeah, so happy to have you back.
I'm
Thank
so
you.
happy to be with you. I love reading with you. You know why? Well, it's a lot of it is you because you're so cool, but all the people you draw are amazing souls. I mean, we
Yeah,
get that they really are kind and generous and gracious, and I appreciate that. Thanks for having me.
yeah. Yes, glad to see you. And so let's say hi to some people and then we'll get into what we're doing today.
Okay.
And we've got Ness first. Hi, Ness.
Thank you, Ness.
Yes, thank you for your donation.
Hmm.
And Jackie Jacaranda is here.
Love her.
And Garnet. Hi, Garnet. And Amanda,
This is
Twisted
she's
Sushi.
sushi. I love that.
And T Lynn is here. Hello, T Lynn. And Jeff.
Oh,
And
Jeff,
Deborah said
thank you.
that you were just together for a collab. So,
Yeah, on Gerald's channel, Terrell
right.
Stash.
Bora Bora is here. And Spirit Detective Suzanne.
Oh,
Diane is here. Hi, Diane.
nice to see you.
I said T Lynn, I believe. Let's see who else we got. Harley. Hey, Harley. Got a good crowd. Silly is here. And Karen Doyle.
Karen.
Hey, Karen.
Hi, Karen.
Sorry you missed last night, Karen, but I'm glad you kind of did because you were on this side. You were going down a mountain. So she was trying to do the Zoom while going down a mountain. And
Multitasking.
so yeah, and it dropped her. So it's kind of
Thank
probably
God.
a good thing.
It's like the spirit come down and say, "I'm putting you in timeout, girl.
Yeah.
I got to get you home."
That's dedication though.
Yeah,
I'm telling you.
that's true.
And Leona, hi Leona. And baby Angel, hello.
Nice to see you.
And there's Jessica Lynn and Michaela. Hi to both of you. And let's see if anybody else. Um, so, Silly, I'll highlight your question. I am going to do things a little bit differently today. We've already had a donation, so we're going to do Ness's question. But um, I asked Deborah if she'd like to do, something a little bit different and maybe just do some conversation back and forth and talk about, things that are really important, like our spiritual awakening and our spiritual journey. And
Mm.
she agreed that it'd be a good idea. So we're going to do that. Do you want to go ahead and do Nessa's question?
Oh yes, yes.
And then we'll close questions after Ness. So we may open them up later on. It just depends how things go, but I appreciate you guys just
And,
chilling with us today.
and as we're talking to our stories, you're going to relate to some of these stories, and I would like you to just keep commenting. Oh, I had that
Yeah,
happen to me. I saw ghosts before. And so we can keep up with wherever the energy is. That'd be fun.
yeah, definitely. So if you have questions that pertain to what we're talking about, please continue to do that. Yes, Diane says I love story time and chill. Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay, Umbrella's driving. Okay, I'm listening. All right. So we're still looking. Hi, Shalia. We're looking for Ness. Ness is here. Okay. So we'll go ahead and do Ness's question, and then questions are closed. I'm just going to put the banner up just so everybody knows. And we'll be happy to get to your questions at another live or possibly at the end of this one. So we'll see how we're doing. All right. Let me put Ness. Ness, did you have a certain question? All I've got is that you would love a reading from us. So, do you want a general, or do you want something specific for us? Okay, here we go. Welcome an
Mhm.
energy read for the next 2 months.
Hmm. Um, I've got the magician for you. I'm going to do 1 month at a time, if you don't mind. So between now and the same time next month would be October. I've got the magician card, which is a very positive card, saying again, and I get this a lot for you, I think, Ness, as I remember, because you really do have everything you need to manifest. And the only the shadow side of the magician when it's upright is that you may lack the confidence, but I don't think you do lack the confidence, because right after that is the Knight of Swords. So that means a lot of intellectual energy, and it looks like it's turning into your job. When I see the Three of Pentacles, I always think of someone who's really, really good at their work and bringing things, no matter what it is, bringing it into the world for others. And then you would strike a balance in that. Now, this did show up reversed, but I have a sense that by the time you go into the next month, it's going to be upright. So why don't we just cut to the chase and make this card upright now? And all you need to do, all you need to do is trust that you're taken care of financially. That's going to come in. And I'll move into the next month, which would be the middle of September or the first week of September, sorry, October then into November. And I got the Lover's card. I've got the Empress card. So we've got collaboration with the Lover's card. We've got options with the Empress card. Non-traditional thought with the reverse Hierophant. And here's another non-traditional thought with the Ten of Pentacles reverse. This may just have been a mistake. I view it as upright, meaning that you are creating a legacy, but it's all roads ahead. Two of Swords reversed means you're on your way. There's no more pausing. So it looks like you're going to have a great ride for the next couple of months.
All right. Thank you, Deborah. And so Ness, I'm gonna pull one for each week. I'm gonna do 6 weeks for you. Okay, so you're gonna get 6 cards.
Nice.
The first week that I got for you is, and I'm using all Colette Baron Reed decks for the Oracle readings tonight. And for the reading, for your reading. So the first one I got is the Magical Map Shifter. So this to me, tells me that you've got some time maybe to get away a little bit, go someplace else physically where you can clear your head some. And I think that will be an eye-opener for you if you just do that and change course a little bit and go someplace that will inspire you. Feels very magical, she said, like Deborah said. Yep. And then for your second week, you got the cow. Nourishment, abundance, asking, and receiving. So make sure you're getting as much as you're giving, and also that you're claiming your abundance. I know you said earlier that you were, coming into your confidence, but you said, I know I can do better. We all can do better. We all can do better. Focusing on the fact that you are self-confident and all that you've accomplished is what you can do to really stand yourself out and make a difference. Then you got the Dream Thief, refusal of the call for week 3. So this tells me just to perhaps watch your dreams and look for things that you can change in your life on this third week. looks like there is an opportunity for you, but you don't want to miss that opportunity. So it feels like a Four of Cups card with the Dream Thief there. And then the fourth week, I've got the Bat Spirit. A rebirth is assured. So whatever is bothering you here or is going to come in, you can take that away on the fourth week and just have it be gone. So rebirth is assured. Something new. The fifth one I got is Morgan, Death and Magic. So this again is a change with death, change and transition, and then you've got magic to turn it all around into something really good. And then your last card is the sixth week. Okay, so you got the Forbidden card. So to me, this just means that every closed door leads to an open door. I kind of just made that up, but every closed door, I believe, does lead to an open opportunity. You just have to turn around to see it. So it might not be exactly where or when you think it's supposed to be, but there will be. And we have so many opportunities because we are with Spirit that I don't think anything is really forbidden. So it's an illusion in my mind. So just know that you can open up any door, even if one closes. So that's what I got.
Great. I'd like to honor Ness, take a moment to honor Ness because she visited my show and she wrote a poem. And Ness, I couldn't get back to make sure that I got the poem right. So I'm just going to read it because it's so beautiful. She says, I go quietly, shift, shake things up, soft power, mix of Queen of Swords and Tower. I just love that. I hope that you, that's a magical poem, I think. And thank you for gifting me with that, all of us with that.
I like that.
I wrote a poem. She said, yes, you don't even know. I knew you. I was wondering if you realized it rhymed. So, yes, you wrote that, Ness.
Awesome. All right.
Different kinds of power.
I love that. Okay, so she says she was talking about soft power.
Yeah, soft power.
So I'd like to hear, I don't know about your spiritual journey as far as your spiritual awakening, Debra, and I would love to know whatever you would like to share, and would you mind if we started off that way?
I'd love it because my journey is going to be different from everyone else's. But if I share what I've been going through and maybe encourage you to think back long ago when you were a kid, you'll notice Spirit was visiting you too. Everybody who's here with us has been aligned to this moment on earth, and you've had things like this. So I'd really love to hear if you've had anything like this. Now, when I was a kid, I would hear angelic choirs out of nowhere for no reason. Aww. And I would look around. I mean, I could go into what it sounded like, but that'll take time. I would look around to hear where it came from, but it was everywhere. I couldn't point to it. And there was one, I was thinking I was going nuts because nothing happened but just these choirs. And one day at the dinner table, it happened again out of the blue, and my brother heard it. And he looked around and says, where's that music coming from? And I thought, okay, I needed to know it wasn't nuts. And he didn't remember. He didn't want to talk about it afterwards. So the reason he heard it was just Spirit telling me that I'm not nuts. So, I've had so many, I saw ghosts, but the mean ones and all of that stuff. But I've had a lot of miracles. When I was a kid, I pulled a boiling pot of water on my legs. And I don't remember a thing about it. So there's no emotion, no trauma, nothing. Except for one thing I remembered. This is what I'm going to tell you. So I pulled this on, and in those days, back in the covered wagon days, what they would do is wrap the burns. So when they ooze, or when the blisters will go into the fabric, and then the fabric would be taken off the next day, and that's very, very painful, very painful.
Yeah.
So painful that, and I didn't know what was going on. They bandaged my legs together so I wouldn't walk and crack anything. I know that sounds weird, but I went to the doctor the next day, and the nurse was crying because she needed to do this. And then I was saying, what's wrong? What's wrong? Is everything all right? She's, oh, just fine, dear. And she started taking off the bandages, and I wasn't burned anymore. I was not burned at all. And she starts to really cry and back up and cry. And the doctor heard her in the hall. And I thought, oh, I'm in really big trouble now, because whenever I cause anything, I get in trouble. And the doctor came in and scooped me off the table and twirled me around. I really didn't know what was going on, but he took me in the waiting room and said, these legs were burned yesterday and they are healed today. And he would shake he says, look at these fat legs. They're healed. They're healed. It was just a moment. So I do remember that. Afterwards, a long time after that, my mother said, there was a prayer chain started for you. I called Grandma to make sure she knows. And she started a prayer chain. And I thought, don't you think that had a little something to do with it? And she said, I don't know. I don't know what she was thinking, but it certainly brought it home for me. And power of prayer. Yes, absolutely. And even your singular prayer. If you think of someone, just throw a prayer at them, all over them, tickle them with it. And in your imagination, be with them with it. And it really goes a long way. And then there was another time, if you don't mind me, one more thing. I was practicing. Oh, you did something like that once. It took weeks to get better. This was overnight. I mean, I was so blessed. Yes, I'm very blessed. But I was working at a tarot shop, a psychic shop, and I was doing a cranial sacral meditation with a client, and she was wrapped up in this. It was a really small room, and she was wrapped up in a blanket, and I was doing meditation at her head, just meditating and bringing in healing energy. I got to tell you this, because yes, I've been doing spiritual work for a lot, but to have an experience like this, I couldn't believe it was happening. And this is what's going to happen to everybody listening if that's what they want to bring in. So my intention was to serve well. And I closed my eyes, and behind my eyelids was a movie playing. And the door disappeared to my room. It was very dark. My door disappeared, and all these people came in. It's like this woman's legacy, a lineage came in. And I thought, oh, this was interesting. Now I picture me thinking, oh, this is interesting. You don't want to mess it up because this is a cool feeling. It's a cool meditation or whatever. And then they went on both sides of where there wasn't room, they went on both sides of her table, of the chair she was in. And they all were like reverence to them. They would all the guys took their hats off. They were from different eras. The women would bow. Everyone was bowing, and some took their hats off. And I thought, oh my God, this is really amazing. But guess what I did? I thought, I'm going to open my eyes to see if it's true. Right? And so I opened my eyes, and fuck, it was true. Oh my God. I thought, oh, just keep calm. This is really happening. Just keep calm. And then this little boy comes in and runs up to my client's arm. Now she's sleeping through this, and he jumps like on her arm and leans in and gives her a big kiss like this. Didn't touch her or anything, and I said, oh, you're, who are you? I said, and he says, I'm her little brother. And I said, she's a pretty good big sister, isn't she? Oh, the best. He had nothing but good things to say. So that went on and was a delightful experience. And my heart was like beating, like this really happened to me. So at the end, she went to the desk to pay for her session, and she says, "I've never felt anything like that." And I was kind of curious if she had anything like this happen.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, "I can't tell you what happened, but it was amazing. I connected here or there." And I said, "Your little brother came in and said hello, that you are the best big sister." And I didn't know this woman. Uh, and she started crying because she lost her baby brother and all of that stuff.
Oh my goodness.
But it was an amazing alignment that we all get to have. And you were talking about someone who believed in all of it, but never experienced it to be true for me.
Right.
And so
Oh,
just just know that when you're at that place, man, it's going to come in big time. Write it all down so you don't forget even the little things. But
that's great.
so how about you?
Um, I've always felt different, from when I was really small. I can't remember a time where I didn't feel different.
Mm-hmm.
My parents divorced when I was 3, and so when I moved up here, I was, this is the backwoods, and it still is, but it really was in the late 70s, early 80s. But I was one of the only kids with divorced parents. Almost everybody in my class had parents that weren't divorced, or they had a perfect looking family. And of course we know that's not true, but
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
yeah. But I always felt different in elementary school. I always felt, like I was different from the other kids, and I can always remember feeling something different from each one, and I would feel things, from them, and I would catch other people's feelings and think that it was my own, and it just
Oh,
became like it was too much, and had a really hard time in junior high and high school. And then finally in college I was like, you know what, I'm just going to put myself out there and not take on these feelings as much. But I still did in a way until just a few years ago. And
mm,
that's when I had my spiritual awakening. And I learned that you don't have to take on the feelings of other people. You have we have free will that you can
yeah.
stop and think and say, I don't want to take this on. This is not coming from me, and then move on. So, yeah, but I very high sensitive empath, always have
Yes.
been. So, yeah,
There are some people who never learn that, and
right,
they spend their whole life wondering if what they're feeling is theirs or someone else's, or not
right.
even be able to articulate that. How exhausting that would be.
Hmm.
Oh, I'm so glad you got to the other side of that.
Yeah, and I still struggle. I still, it's not a clear path, that we take, or we wouldn't be
Yeah,
here. So
that's
we
right.
all have, you know, that's my Achilles heel, I guess you could say, is
Right.
especially in my job, is not to take on the feelings of the customers, the members,
Oh,
that I'm talking
right.
to on the phone. So, because sometimes even before the phone rings, I know what kind of customer I'm going to get. I can feel it.
Oh,
I can feel
wow.
that. And sometimes I have to just like take my hand and move it from my stomach where I'll feel that pit, and
Hmm.
feel that energy from that other person, take it and move it to my heart, and
Oh,
transform it. And I found that helps a lot. It helps a lot to pet my cats.
hmm,
It's
yeah.
a lot of healing from that, and a lot of
Hmm.
times they'll just jump up here to be with me, and I think they know that I need some
Right.
healing, and just,
I love that.
yeah. So I'm sitting here talking to a member, but they don't know that I'm petting my cat, and it's keeping me calm.
I love
So
that.
just found different ways to cope with the oversensitivity.
Right.
So,
Because what we always take on is that if I'm feeling your pain, I want to help you with your pain. And once you do a reading, maybe, hi, mystical, you might want to follow up with them. How are things going? Or things that's just too much, right? Because I think that it's disrespectful of me to think I should take away someone's pain. And I know that
mm,
that's just not respectful of me because they're going through this for a reason, and I'm here to support that reason. I'm if certainly don't want them to crash and burn, but there's
right.
so much to learn, right?
Yeah.
An opportunity to feel God in action uh, during that
Right.
time.
And it's like Amanda was saying, she said that up here that I was always referred to as oversensitive, and then I had the right person simply say, "You are sensitive in a positive way." And
Yes.
that's what I learned, through my awakening was that you can use it as a superpower. And I learned that from watching Christina Lopes. She's a just a spiritual um, teacher here on
Mhm.
YouTube,
Oh,
and I learned it just by watching her. And I had broken my ankle, and I was in the bed for about probably 3 to 4 months,
wow.
and I would watch her, and I was like, what's an empath, first of all? And then I realized that's me over and over again. And
Yeah.
then realizing that it can be used as a superpower because you can use it to understand other people's weaknesses and where they need help, and then you can help them if you don't take it on yourself. So,
Right.
but that's hard to do. That's hard to do, but it's not
It sure
impossible.
is. I think just being mindful and being the observer of the situation versus the orchestrator. I need to
Yeah.
move this person. See, isn't that interesting? I have, yeah, because if you're the observer, it backs you up far enough, a little bit farther from the situation and from the pain or excitement or whatever, that you're stay in balance. I think so. Oh,
Just felt a blanket of overwhelming emotions that belonged to me. I asked my
mm,
guides about it and was told that I loved deeply.
mm-hmm.
I like that. Like that.
Nothing wrong with that. Yeah.
And Garnet said earlier that as soon as we came on, his ears started ringing. And you were just talking about in the studio before we started about
Yeah.
people in the audience having
Yes.
experiences, and my
Hmm.
ears have started ringing as well. So
That's
things like that
yeah.
can happen, and it can happen for you sitting over there, Delphi. It can happen for you. It can happen for
Yes.
you, Karen. Any of you. So you know,
Right.
at any time we can have these experiences that we know that we're connected, right?
When we start talking about our experiences and sharing it so people can relate, there was a show I was doing with Kaylee who channels the Holy Spirit that people were being touched at these. This is even through the replay. People were contacting me that people were being touched and visited. The room filled with fragrance of someone. So be mindful of what's around you and say, okay, spirit, I'm ready for my mystical experience. We're vibing right here. You're holding, everybody's holding the power for everyone to have an experience. So let's invite it in. Let us know what's going on. Um, I'm trying to read this without glasses. Terrible. I have
Which one? And
everybody.
I'll flash it up here for
That's all
you.
right. I can't. It's all a blur, so I have to put my glasses on. Excuse me, to see. Uh, oh, T. Lynn says. So yeah, that's an interesting thing. Happy, sad, and in between feelings with overwhelming, intense emotions. Recently, a tearful mess. I got to tell you that so many times our peers, our parents, our teachers say, that's wrong. Don't fly off the handle. Stop being a crybaby, stuff like that. But you understand that you are not broken. This is you and your experience, and imagine that you don't have to have a good reason to cry, because
Mm.
through that there is a grace that lives there in those tears. And that grace is like a magnet for experience or downloads. In fact, there's a lot of people talking about codes, downloads, and all that coming in. So I find you remarkable, T. Lynn, for sharing that. Be proud of it,
Yes.
for sure. For sure.
Crying is so healing. Amanda
Mm-hmm.
said, and you know, when I grew up and where I grew up, you know, it was looked down upon for men to cry. So you weren't supposed to cry if you were a man. That was an indication that you're weak, you
Mm-hmm.
know. But when my mother passed, I don't think I would have got through that without the healing power of crying. I don't
Yes.
think I would have, because that's how I processed my grief. And Spirit brought Jacaranda, into my life, and she was there with me,
Oh,
even though she lives thousands of miles away on the other side of the sea in England. It didn't matter. We were able to connect, and she had lost her husband, and you know, not long before, and she was able to help me with my mom's passing, and you know, going through that. So, um,
what a
yeah,
blessing.
yeah, it was a blessing. So tears are healing if you let them be. So
Oh, Karen says I'm yeah, I'm crying, Scott, listening to you. That's the
uh,
touching of a familiar sister and brother, um, energy of the love for that. It
right.
is amazing. It is amazing.
Yeah, it is still an indication of being weak in many cultures, unfortunately.
Aren't you?
Yeah,
You know, I'm
we
so
know
glad we
different.
live in America. I mean, we
Yeah.
really do. We are able to really and truly, for the most part, be ourselves and not apologize for it. Now, the older I get, the more unapologetic I am. But so I had to grow to be old to do that. But man, everyone can do that now and be accepted. And I think it's great. Mary Thornberry has something going on here with, thank you.
Hmm.
Sometimes I think chaotic emotions are leading us to a place we need to be. The timeline of tears help us get there sometimes. I think it's a clearing like that because of that
Hmm.
special grace. Like, for instance, people who are super depressed, there's a grace there that's only for you if you're that way, and it's there to support you through it. And sometimes people get, it's so, all the grace is sweet, but there, you get kind of used to that grace to where depression is starts to be a warm home, you see. So
Mm.
there's and spirit's going to sit with you wherever you are, it doesn't matter. But and with tears, they hold you in a special spot, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an exception of the self. Yeah.
Yes, I love that, Garnet. I love that.
I got a question here from Karen. She says,
Mm-hmm.
"Did you have relief your brother heard the music too?"
Yes, because I thought I was nuts. I was always the oddball. I was a black sheep, so I got caught. I mean, wham wham. I'm not a victim, but that's just the way the dynamics rolled. And so when I felt different things just like everyone else that's sensitive. And then when I heard the music, I started right about that time. Started thinking I might be crazy and how I was going to break that to my parents or keep it hidden enough so I didn't get reprimanded for it. Right. So
Mm.
I thought it was wrong. But when he heard it, that made me so happy. I don't know why, but spirit was really a blessing doing that for me,
Right.
for sure.
Yeah. I know that just one thing I'll share real quick. I when I was, I think, in sixth grade, I used to write these stories, and I love soap operas, so I would write stories about my classmates in a soap opera way, and
Nice.
it was a way that I got out my feelings and just emotions and different things. And my teacher um, found them one day, and he took them up to the front, and didn't read them aloud, but he called my mother in for a um,
Uh-oh.
parent conference and said you need to get him into therapy. And so
Oh.
I went into therapy, and the therapist was in the backwoods, as well. And he told my mom that if um, she didn't change the way that she was parenting me, that I was going to be gay. That's exactly what he said to her. And so she not only was like trying to take on the dad role, but she ended up marrying my stepdad, who was a terrible choice for her. And it didn't work from day one. But we ended up moving into another area, a different state, even because my mom was so bent on me being normal, and she didn't want to do anything. She thought it was
Oh yeah.
her fault that I turned out that way, because her marriage didn't last, and you know ended when I was 3 years old. But
Mm.
we knew that that was true before she passed. Anyway, I just wanted to share that. That's one
Did
thing.
did she come all full circle before she passed, or she
Yes, thank
did?
God she did. Yeah, I ended up moving up here in 2011 to be with her, and so because she started getting forgetful and dementia and a few things like that, but she couldn't keep hold of her medicine, and do that at the right times. So I
Hmm.
was helping her with that, and then eventually, when she broke her back, she lost the ability to walk properly, and she had to have a walker, and her dementia would get in there, and then she would forget that she even needed her walker and
Oh
start
my.
walking and did falling everywhere. So we
Mm.
had to put her in a nursing home. But she did one night. We were sitting watching TV, and it was right before she came to the point where her dementia kind of took over, and she was in her right mind and everything. And she looked at the TV, and she pointed. We were watching basketball, I think, and she pointed, and she goes, "So you think he's hot?" Like, what did you just say? Well, is that your type? I'm like, well, no, I'm actually, I like blondes. And she's like, me too.
Oh,
And we didn't say anything after that. It was just
oh,
accepted. And I
I
felt
love
so
that.
relieved after that, because this is the woman that would stay on the phone with me when I lived in Florida, and it had just came out. And she would spend, as long as I would, before I would hang up the phone, she'd spend time in prayer, praying for me to get the demons out of me, because I was
Mm.
gay. And now for her to go full circle into accepting it. And one of the last things she did, I'm not political, everybody knows that, but one of the last things she did when she was in her right mind is she stuck up for me in the middle of a Republican county and the Republican area, big red area here. She always voted Republican. One of the last things she did is she said, I want you to tell me who's going to be there for you and who's going to be the right. She just knew which was right and which was wrong
Right.
for me, because she had a gay son and she wanted to stand up for that. She voted for Hillary Clinton.
Oh,
So that was one of the last things she did before she got really sick. So,
oh, God bless.
yeah.
Oh my goodness. God bless. We are all everyone's, teacher or student, but I know that through I I feel bad, and I don't know why I feel bad about this. Mothers are so connected to life. That's so true. If someone doesn't have that full circle while living,
Mm-hmm.
it's just during a life review. It's there's a lot of tears in heaven when they haven't reconciled, and I'm so grateful she had time to reconcile everything, and reconnect with you in a different way. What a blessing.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely.
Wow, what you've been
Definitely.
through.
It's taught me though. You have to
Yeah,
learn. You have to learn from the things that happen. So,
right.
and you got to choose every day to, try to live authentically because you don't know when someone's going to be gone, you know. So,
Hmm.
she did have dementia and it turned into Alzheimer's, but she had it for so long that when it finally started to take her, we were all surprised because she was up walking around the week before, and then
Mm-hmm.
bam, the vascular dementia got her, and she was in bed comatose almost. So it did happen
Wow.
fast. We were just. We just thought she's going to be in the nursing home for the rest of her life. It's okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
and she was, but she was going to be there, you know,
Hmm.
and it just didn't feel right that she was leaving. But
Do you have siblings?
I do. I have two sisters. So
And did they help you or not help you?
not as much as not too much, no,
Okay.
to be honest. But
I
they did towards the end when it came to when she was passing away and we had to put her in hospice and all that.
Mhm.
Um, then yes, they did. They were big with the details and everything, and that's fine. I let them do that because, you know, I wanted to think of it as the way that mom would want things to be done, and she wouldn't want us to be fighting. So
That's what I
just
was
let them
gonna.
do things, do things the way they want to for the
Yeah.
funeral and stuff like
Right.
that.
Right.
So I just kind of sat back, but
I have a question for you.
sure.
So it sounds like you were really beaten down. With every turn, if you're too sensitive, you're this. If you talk too much, you are that. How did you continue to be kind to people? Or maybe you weren't. Maybe there was a mean streak time for you, but I'm sure it went up and in and out of possibilities for you. But you're such a kind and sensitive person now that the
Thank you.
the abuse you had or the struggle you had, there was a resilience there that kept you whole until you can move into your own declaration of truth and have
Right.
us support you, all your friends, family, YouTube viewers. Um, how did you not hold a grudge? Or maybe you did hold a grudge. I don't know.
I did when I was younger. I did, and I had a lot of hate in my life when I was in high school and junior high.
Hmm.
And I felt, had a lot of anger in my life because I didn't know what was going on with me.
Hmm.
Being gay, I didn't come out till I was 26, so I had a lot of the I was hiding, and it was a freedom that I felt when I finally came out. I felt, oh, I can be who I am, and it's not going to keep me away from God because God is not who I have been. This God that I know is not the same one that I've been taught. So
Right.
I was raised very Southern Baptist.
Mm.
So I think a lot can probably, you know, um, resonate with that. But yeah, it's when I became, when I came out is really when my story started unfolding, and I was really able to be me
Good for
and
you.
have no apologies about that. It's still hard sometimes.
Of
I'm like,
course.
oh, I shouldn't walk that way or talk that way, and then I just remind myself, you be you. If it walks like a duck, talks like a duck, and quacks like a duck, it's a duck.
Yeah.
So I'll be me, and
Good for you.
yeah, that's how we have to be authentic, because if not, it stirs inside you and it can be poisonous and dangerous to yourself as well if you let that grow, that hate grow. So it was just learning to love myself again,
Mhm.
or actually for the first time, after I came out. So, yeah.
That's an amazing story.
Have you had
Ama-
anything similar to like that to happen?
yes. life insisted that I find my own way instead of leaning on anybody else. And that paid off in the end because I love my solitude, and I really am who I want to be every single day. I don't have to put a mask on, and there's something to be said for that. I do see in the chat somebody, Marilla, it's 4:45 for me is what, but it's there it is. I had to pull over and say, they don't get better than Scott. So true, so kind, loving, and generous. So blessed to have found Scott. He has helped me with my grieving.
And Marilla's helped me too.
Yeah.
So has all of you in the chat, and Debra, just being able to do this with you is it helps us to heal when we are able to express, because we're getting it out. We're not letting it suffocate us, or
right.
And it makes you think, oh, I do have a little bit more work to do in this area, but it's okay because look how far I've come.
Yes.
Look how far you've come.
Right. Exactly. There's a lot of people who hold each other up and hold space for each other. And I think, like when we're doing forums like this, the audience is holding us up, holding space for us to be able to tell our story, and hopefully encourage everyone to share their instances, their miracles that happen. There's so many times when spirit, it's called providence, and it's divine intervention, deep divine intervention when you're in a situation. And I know we all have had some of those we just barely missed the car or whatever. And all of that is a real blessing. And I'm curious if anyone in the audience has had these kind of intervention, little bits of providence that have come in. And all of those point to a direction. Also, it's just like when my brother heard the music, and it's like spirit saying, you're not nuts. We are here. Everyone, if you're able to hear it, we're here. And because he didn't want anything to do with me, I raced downstairs to his room after dinner. I said, tell me you heard the music. Oh my God. He said, just get out of my room. He didn't want anything to do it. So that wasn't for him. It was for me. And that was a blessing. Yeah. There's a lot of people in the room.
Yes. Thank you guys for being here. Really appreciate it.
Parents want kids to get along after they pass. Yes, they do.
Ness said, when I was a kid in middle school or high school, my mom was driving in a country road and I had the urge to close my passenger side window. 5 minutes we drove through a beehive. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Awesome. Nice.
Yeah, it is awesome. Yeah, one time when I was in Florida, I would always take the it wasn't the interstate, it was the other road, which was considered to be, safer, and I would always take that way home from work. And one day I got in my car and I saw the exit for the interstate, and I just felt this. And this is before my spiritual awakening or anything, but I just felt this saying, you need to get off on the interstate right now and do it right away. So I got off on the interstate and I went home, and I found out there was a car crash almost the exact same time. It would have been the exact same time that I would have been in that area. It was right past that exit.
Oh, I love stories like that.
That shook me up for a while. I was like, and I was agnostic at the time, so I was like, what does that mean?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
But his spirit still had my back, was still there working through
Absolutely.
me.
And that's
working for me, I should say.
And that's how spirit talks to you. Because I said earlier today on one of the shows that we're anxious to have, I got this angelic choirs, but we want to hear Spirit tell us what to do next. You know, I had a friend that was studying it. She goes, I haven't heard him Spirit talk to me and tell me what to do yet. But they can't tell you what to do. They can only give you impulses. That's it. And if you're sensitive enough and open enough to just say, well, I guess today we're going to take this road instead of that, divine protection. That's right. Then we're able to take advantage of the blessing and bounty, but angels and guides don't assert themselves by default. But apparently in your situation, they did. You're agnostic. And so you were just hypnotized by the road home and gave you an impulse, and you took that impulse. That's exactly how they care for everyone, no matter what.
No matter what.
Everyone. Yeah.
Harley said, Deborah, I must say that I have had the opportunity to see many miracles around me, for me and some others. Very grateful for receiving and witnessing them all. Yeah.
Give us one. Tell us, Harley, which is something come to mind. I would love to know if there's, I would love to hear the story, because that's what we live for. Oh, a year later. Go ahead.
A year later, I went to a holiday party that studied at that building when it was a different grad program, and before I could say anything, he asked me if I met the old lady ghost.
Huh.
That studied the building when it was different. And before I could say anything, yes, if I met the old lady. Oh, that's the part 2. We missed part 1.
I could, okay. A year later, I went to a holiday party. I met someone that studied at that building when it was a different grad program. I could say anything. Okay. Met the old lady.
This is part 1. Yeah, there we go.
Haunted. Oh, you had 3 encounters with her.
Wow.
Gimme. I love that. But I pray and hope that everyone this coming week, you know, the energies are really shifting and changing. I can't tell you how different I feel in the last couple of weeks. So if you I be open to blessings and keep track of them so we can talk about them, bring more in.
All right.
Amanda says. Go ahead.
Yeah, it was divine intervention. Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay, she said, I've experienced 2 car accidents. I wasn't driving where I could have easily died. Oh, looking back, I know it was divine intervention. That's right.
Yeah, look at what Diane said. She said, it's such a relief when there are people who validate our experiences.
Yes.
Yes, I agree.
We don't have many options to say our stories, speak our story. And if we did, we would know how often it happens, how available it is for us.
Right. I just appreciate you holding space for me too, in order to share things like that. So.
Oh yes.
I don't get the chance to do that often, but I try to be open as well with my experiences, because I know it could hopefully help somebody else, and maybe help them if they have a son or a grandson or a granddaughter even who's struggling with, you know, the things that I have struggled with. Maybe to help them see, you know, that it's, you know, not the kid's fault. A lot of times it's just the way they were raised, and it's that they're special as well, that they have abilities that they haven't tapped into yet, and it's coming out the wrong way like mine did.
Coming out the wrong way like yours did? What do you mean?
You know, like when I was younger, I had a lot of anger.
Oh, the anger.
The anger, yeah.
I don't know
And
if that was the wrong way. Do you think so? I mean, I'm just going to push back on you a little bit because
no, that's fine.
that anger is a righteous anger that again, grace hides in everything. And so when even if you kept it to yourself and said, I hate you, I wish you
Right.
bad, or whatever your language was, that's so important because it's
Mhm.
almost like when you're in that energy, you are Superman. You are declaring your truth. And through anger, even if it's self talk, through that anger is the only way you can really declare who you are. And I know
Mhm.
you don't want to identify with anger or anything else, but it's such a friend. It's such a
Anger is,
friend.
yeah, if you learn how to process it correctly,
Right.
it can be good for you. I know that. Uh,
Absolutely. God bless you.
yeah, that's funny. There's this unicorn deck that I have, and you know, I got it from this girl who told me about it, and she told me, if you get a bad reading, just throw a unicorn on there. It'll make things so much better. If you get a bad reading for someone you're reading for. And so I was using them, and then I got the anger unicorn, and I put it out there, and I was like, now I'm sure. Then they just said, I don't get angry. I'm not getting angry, and it's like everybody has a stigma that it's horrible to get angry, and you should say I've never been angry. But I think sometimes we get angry and we hold it inside,
Hmm.
and maybe we don't think it's anger because we're not expressing it, but yet it still is, isn't it? It's
My
still there.
Achilles here is heel is anger because I can go from 0 to 60. I've had my whole life. I guess it was tamped down when I was a kid. I was told not to fly off the handle, not to do this, and it was just everything was
Right.
held in. And so now, if anyone younger, if anyone disrespects me or doesn't, I was just 0 to 60, and it was uncomfortable because
Mhm.
I would lose control of my emotions and be whatever a Karen is or whatever. And I didn't like myself at that point, but I knew why I was doing it. And I'm thinking, I've got to get on the other side of this. And, but now I understand what to do when it happens. I think the reason it still happens to me, I'm not going to get it
Yeah.
out of me. That's who I am. 0 to 60. If you make me mad, I'm sorry. But
Right.
now I
Right.
know because it's been so persistent. I know what to advise others. And I've done this, practice this. If I can catch myself before 60, um, to
Mhm.
automatically just be the observer of, and that gives you space. And when there's space, you can it allows a sentence to come into my mind, and I say that person did not get out of bed thinking all they wanted to do was make you mad. So as
Mhm.
long as that will ground me and keep me from embarrassing myself, I'm just here to say who I am. So I'm much better. I can control it. Anybody who has problems with that, entertain the thought that you're not alone. This isn't bad. You're not broken. But
Right.
to understand if you're uncomfortable with yourself on that, there are little things you can do to help offset it when it comes. Sometimes you'll win. Sometimes I win. Sometimes I don't. But
What do you do to offset it? What do you do?
what I do, because I'll get this hit of unusual anger, like violent anger. I'm just being real with
Mhm.
you, right? It's just like I
Right.
hate you, and 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 it's that's I've gotten closer and closer to that point. Then I say, "Oh, there you are," because then the anger becomes the Deborah that has anger, and not me. There's two Debras.
Right.
Uh,
Right.
so, and so when I get even that little visual in or that little thought, and I ask spirit for help all the time with that, then it gives me more room to say that person did not get out of bed wanting to piss you off. And so,
Right. It had
and
nothing to do with
it
you,
has,
even
it's right.
possibly.
And
Yeah.
I can not take it personal. But see, I have, don't take anything personally. The sacred agreements, that's the second agreement. The four agreements is, uh,
Oh.
and I think, I wish I can do that. And I can do that if I practice the awareness of being the observer when it happens. Am I going to fight and go to therapy and spend thousands trying to figure out how not to go from 0 to 60? No, I've tried that, didn't work. So now I know that that's just who I am. And in fact, there's friends, if we're discussing something, I get mad and I says, just give me 5 minutes with this. And then I'll be fine. But it's just, they know. And so I don't know if anyone struggles with that.
Well, Harley had a question here, or had a comment. Scott, I mentioned earlier of a friend who had meningitis in the highest level of the brain and spine, went into a coma and had 30 small strokes. Oh, okay, that's continued. Wasn't expected to survive as she did it was to be in a vegetative state.
Oh, my
People
goodness.
prayed she came out walking, talking, full recovery. No explanation.
Divine intervention. Yes. Power of prayer. Amazing.
Yeah, many family members who's been in car accidents. As an adult, he was left in a burning car by the driver and he survived. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
There's miracles like that we see all the time. Or,
yeah.
We learn from other people just like we're learning now.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter if these are big things we're talking about, even the little things, like a blessing of a free cup of coffee or something, or just any kind of sweet moment that you can have with spirit is monumental to me.
Well, this is a blessing to me because I just feel so much lighter just being able to talk and experience this with you and listen to what you have to say and the people in the chat as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that. We should do this again. We are not alone. Nobody's alone. This is our tribe. Alone. So maybe we should do this again and invite commentary from our viewers to share, just like what Harley did, because that moves me into the magic of it all. And once we hear it more and more, then we'll be magnets for it to. It happens to us no matter if we realize it or not. But I want to recognize the beauty when it happens and not just brush it over as everyday life. So, and then that could be their homework until the next time we come on.
I love that.
Yeah.
Love that. Well, I just wanted to thank you so much for being here.
This has been fun.
It's been amazing. So I want to thank everybody for being here who has been here through the live with us.
Yes.
And I appreciate everybody and their I don't know, I'm losing my words now. This is what I get from being on for the 3 different times in the day.
Yeah.
Participating. I can't even think of participating.
That's a good word.
Thank you for participating in the live. And it means so much to us. Like, it validates us and makes us feel that we're not alone. Just like we said.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Really appreciate it. God bless you all.
Yeah. Thank you so much for being here. We will see you soon.
Absolutely. Bye.
Bye, everybody.